What up, everybody? Welcome back. Ugh, my air conditioning doesn't feel like it's working very well. We've been working on the red car, our sport front wheel drive, true street car that hasn't been out in a very long time. Well, it's been out. It just hasn't made a good pass in a very long time. And we're getting it ready, trying to make it to PSCA, and it still doesn't run yet. I still got to finish wiring up the fuel tech, the KS tuned arms on the back of it, and I got one of the bolts that goes up through the floor up here in the front that go up through the bottom that's broken off inside the body of the car, and it's been broken off for many years now, and it's back here right underneath this little spot where that little come up right there on the frame rail is. You can kind of see where I fingered in the dirt there, where I need to cut that open to try and get the bolt out. Still haven't finished the drag radiator set up, and so on and so forth. And we're chomping at the bit here. The car's still, obviously, we're putting fuel tech in it, so it's not tuned. It's all this stuff. We got the transmission fixed from whenever we had it out at PSCA there a couple years ago, and it broke the tranny and the axle. I got all that fixed, but I don't know if it works. Went back in the car, and the car moved a couple times under its own power. But that's it. A rundown of kind of what we got going. This is a G-Force dog box, 4-speed transmission, but it still has the stock case and the stock bell housing. This is a steel rod, like billet Crowder steel rods, JE piston, short block. It's got a custom CNC ported cylinder head from a buddy of mine over at Victory Machine years ago did. Skunk Tube Pro 1 cams, South Base 2200cc injectors, and then our Golden Eagles, I think that's a 6-liter plenum intake, and KLM manifold and stuff. This is all stuff that has been on the car since, I think this whole setup has been on here since 2014, because that was when I painted the car. Yeah, so it's been 2014 that all this has been on there, almost 10 years. And in those 10 years, this car's probably only made half a dozen passes since then. And those would have been in probably like 2014 and 2015. And then 16, it was pretty much blown up. We went to PRI with it, didn't have a motor in it. Built a motor, got it out in 17, had a bunch of Honda problems. So we pulled that off in like 17, early 18. We put Motec on it. Tried to get it running, couldn't get it tuned. Nobody wanted to mess with it. All the crappy shit that happens when you try and build a Honda. And tried to go to PSCA in 2020. Broke the transmission. One, it's very tiresome, and two, it's very expensive. These cars, they're not cheap in any way, shape, or form. And this car, Precision came on board here a couple, would have been in 2016, late 2016. They came on board and hooked me up with a Gen 2 6785. And I've yet to make a full pass down the track with this turbo. On a side note, sorry I'm rambling, but I'm trying to give you a rundown of what's leading up to where we're going here in this video. And this motor's been in the car almost 10 years. Maybe not 10. Maybe 7 or 8. Honestly, it probably needs to come apart. It probably needs to be re-bearinged. I just need to go back over it and check everything. It's been sitting more than, and making it, like letting it sit is harder on it than probably beating on it. Especially since we went to E85. I think I ran pump gas through it before I knew it was going to sit a while, mainly to lube the injectors, lube the cylinder walls. Because if you don't, you're going to, something like this where you let it sit a long period of time, the E85 is going to cause you problems. But with that being said, take it for what it is, but I'm honestly scared to race this thing anymore these days. It's been so long since I drove the car. Not that I'm scared of the car, I'm just scared of the fact that it's been sitting for so long and you don't know what to expect. You know, the motor could blow up, the transmission could blow up again. I mean, who knows at this point? But that's a really expensive motor. That's a really expensive turbo. I'm just terrified really to blow this turbo up, because that thing's like $4,000 and I can't afford to replace that thing. So I run VS turbos on pretty much everything I own. Well, I say pretty much everything. Only thing I don't have a VS turbo on is this car. I contemplated some stuff and I was like, you know what? I need to step this thing down a little bit. So I opted for a VS unit. I talked to Vren a couple times, kind of told him what I was doing. And this particular turbo, I don't know anybody that's used this one. So the car has a 6785 in it. Most of the guys run 7285s in my class. And the classes that I usually run, there's a limit of like 73.9 or something nowadays. Well, I'm already undersized as hell with a 67, but he had a 67 option and a 72 option in this turbo. And I just opted for the 72. It was rated for 200 more horsepower. The 67 was like 1150. And then the 72 was rated for 1350. We know the car made 1100 and some change on the dyno in the mountain. I don't think it'll make this with this turbo. Maybe it will, I don't know. But I just wanted to bring the car down a notch, make it a little less stressful to race. But let me show you what it is. So I already opened it, obviously, because it showed up and I was like, oh, UPS is here, everybody freak out. I'm hoping that this fits in the same spot. I'm pretty sure these are like Garrett cores from the Precision, and I think that's what this one is too. But this is what Vren calls a 7289. I'm hoping it'll spool relatively the same. Maybe it'll spool a little faster. I don't know. But this is a dual ball bearing unit as well. So let me get it out of the box here. I mean, as far as footprint, they look relatively similar. That does have more of like a Borg Warner style looking housing compared to that one. So that may bite me in the ass. I'm hoping this is the same, so it'll still clamp up to that. I'm gonna go ahead and try and pull this off and test fit it. And I might actually just pull the compressor housing off first and make sure that flange there mates up to the one on the intercooler, and that'll give me a start. Billet wheel, this is 11 blade billet ball bearing turbo, water cooled where the Precision one is not. I probably won't run the lines for the water cooled. I may at some point, but for right now I don't think I will. But this turbo online is $1,100. I think he's actually got them on sale right now for $9.99. So we're gonna give it a shot, see if it'll make some power. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it fits in the same spot. It's hard to tell. I don't know if it will or not. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I'm gonna go ahead and try and pull this one apart and try and mock this up on there. If everything fits, we're gonna put it on there, leave it on there, and then when we get it running, it'll make its first track outing with this VS turbo versus the 6785, and that one's gonna go in a box and maybe get sold at a later date, or just get set on the shelf until maybe next year when I shake the car down, I know everything's good, and then I really want to turn it up and lean on it, and then I know that one will make power for sure. So let's try and swap these out. So we got the old turbo off, got the new one kind of down here in pieces, because the way you got to do it on this car, you got to assemble it in sections so the rear housing will go on, and then you can fit the center section in, and then the compressor housing. So I'm slowly gonna put this thing on and see if it'll fit, if it's gonna, hopefully everything will line up. I'm not convinced it's going to, actually. I think the exhaust housing might be all right. I haven't compared it to the other one, but I mean, hell, let's just grab it and see. As far as like where everything sits, you know, as far as like here to the center exit, like some of the housings are just made different. I believe this one is a 115, and that's what I opted for on this one as well, was a 115. I'm gonna grab this this exhaust housing, try and bolt it up on here, and we'll just start stacking this up and see if we can get it to fit. All right, so I got the exhaust housing kind of on there. I got 2 bolts in it, and you can see, you can wiggle it a little bit. I got the down pipe kind of attached to it, and from what I can tell inside, just feeling around, feels like it's gonna work. Go through, I still gotta switch out the oil drain line, or the oil drain flange and stuff. And then the turbo's got a little adapter here, and I believe a restrictor goes in that as well. And then obviously new gaskets. I don't know if I'm gonna use this gasket. I'm not a huge fan of it because it's like, looks like stainless, like a stainless gasket, but you can tell it's like 2 layers sandwiched together. And then inside of it, it's got like that weird composite shit, and I don't want to mess with that. So I'll probably end up just taking the nice gasket that I've got on here now. I'll just put some orange RTV, or like a copper orange silicone, whatever, put on there, like high temp stuff, and then sandwich that down. And then, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and try and put the center section in. Just barely tighten up the clamps and everything on it, and then we'll put the compressor housing on it, and that's going to be the make or break if this thing fits or not. The good thing is with this intercooler, since it is not back door on the other side, doesn't have a V-band, it's actually got couplers and stuff, I've got a little bit of wiggle room there. I just need to make sure that the distance, you know, how wide the exhaust housing to the front is, because then that's going to change where this sits in relation with where I've got this one. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and set the center section in, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so we got it mocked up on there, and so far everything looks like it fits. I did have to wiggle the intercooler just a little bit right here, and that butted up real nice. Everything seems to fit. The headlight does hit a little bit, but not terrible. But the other one did as well. So I think that's gonna be it, guys. I think we're gonna be able to do this, and we're gonna be able to do it without having to change a bunch of stuff. I do need to make sure, yeah, it all looks like it lines up. Oh man, that's definitely gonna make me feel a lot better. You know, $1,100 is still a lot of money, but it's a lot less than $4,000. And you know, this turbo, like I said, is rated for 1,350 wheel. And I just, you know, I like to use them. I like to try them. I like to, you know, see if this thing will make power. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and try and button this all up, and then I'll probably throw this in the video whenever we do a first startup. And yeah. Heck yeah, boys. We come. All right, we got her on there. It's all buttoned up. Only thing I haven't done, I haven't put the heat, or the, what's the word I'm looking at? The turbo blanket on. Mainly because when I start it up, there's oil and stuff that's on that housing. I don't want the oil to get inside the turbo blanket there. So we'll start it up without the turbo blanket and everything, and let it burn all that oil and stuff off the housings and stuff. But only thing I got left to do is I gotta change out my fitting there for my boost controller. So I gotta put a fitting right there. It fits, everything buttoned right up on it. So that's like best case scenario. That stuff normally doesn't happen for me. We're good there. So new turbo's on. The old turbo is going to get cleaned up, boxed up, put back in the box, and just stuck on the shelf for backup purposes. And then we may end up selling it if this turbo does what I need it to do. So, well, that's going to do it for this video. The old silver car here. I'm going to hop in the truck. I got to run somewhere and grab some parts. But that's going to finish off today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep following along. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe. See you later.